What it is, what it do, folks. As y'all can see, back again, KnickN30, the panel here, Trippy OG, Ariel, Smitty, and our special guest from KFTV, the Legacy, the trio. My guy, Alex is in the building. How you doing, brother, man? Like, bro, first of all, before you even say anything, shout outs to you. You've been doing your thing. You've been holding it down. The watch parties have been phenomenal. I actually got to go to the first one for the season opener, and me and Ariel, we got to go to the latest one. So, shout out to y'all over there at KFTV, man. We are proud of y'all. We always proud of y'all. Keep doing what y'all do, bro. But hey, you are here. Welcome.
Appreciate it, man. It's great to be here. Great to talk to you guys about Knicks basketball. You know, got the series tied 1-1, and appreciate it. Glad that you guys could attend the 40-40 event. You know, CP does a lot of work, man, a lot of behind the scene work just to get that stuff up and running. Dude's done just a great job just building a brand and just building the channel. And it's awesome just to be working with him and just see what he does behind the scenes, man, and just his mind and just how he looks at everything. CB's just a great dude, man. Great door, great leader, all the above.
Yeah, that's
how are you guys doing,
I
man?
met him a couple times. He's a good dude.
Yeah. CP's an awesome dude, man. Very chill, very relaxed, all about sports. He likes to tease me about the Jets a little too much, man. I get it, but hopefully,
I'm
a Jets fan. Yeah,
oh,
I'm a Jets
come
fan.
On. You
I'm
too.
I'm a Jets fan too. Don't worry.
Both of y'all gotta quit that. All right, y'all gotta quit it. Stop it. Come to the Giants.
Oh, gee. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I made it this far. I've rode this far. I'm gonna keep riding the horse.
Exactly. You gotta go. Look, man. I'm a Yankees fan too, so I got a lot of success there. Knicks. I mean, it's the only true New York basketball team. So who else am I gonna root for? And then I need a little pain, man. Like the Knicks give me pain, but I need more pain football wise. Like I like a good underdog story. So also I like the color green. Green's just awesome.
All right. So see, I like that. See, at least you have a genuine reason of why you like the Jets. Same as Smith. I give it to both of y'all. But for those Jet fans that just say, "Oh, I like the Jets because I don't like the Giants," you're full of it. Okay, I'm talking to you guys. You're full of it. That is not it, okay? You have to have a legitimate reason to be a Jets fan in my book. But other than that, though, let's go ahead and just take it away, man. I know my guys have a lot of questions for you, so we're going to start off with that before we even get into the whole Knicks aspect, because you've seen that game. We're going to hold up on that real quick. Smitty, I'm going to slide it over to you, bro. Shoot it over.
Alex, man, thanks for joining us. If you can't tell by my funny accent, I'm obviously from the other side of the world, based out of Australia. KFTV, though, man, is something that actually was one of the first sort of, I guess, Knicks outlets or Knicks media type deals that sort of drew me to Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and ended up making, connections with Trippy and such like that. So, yeah, man, I've been following along for a long time. Spoken to CP here and there over the course. Great guy, man, as you mentioned. But man, look, my question to you is, joining KFTV, how has the journey been for you so far as a member of KFTV, and how did that come about?
The journey it's been fun, man. It's been a grind. So back in 2019, I attended the MIT Sloan Sports Conference out here in Boston, and from there I got to meet cool people. I got to meet some celebrities, like famous athletes. I got to see Sue Bird, met George Karl, just many great people out here, and just got to sit in on a lot of different conversations. But there was this one gentleman by the name of Art Rondeau who really piqued my interest, because he used to work with Allen Houston and was a shooting coach for him. And if you look at the numbers and the statistics of how he helped, he was part of the reason that Houston got on this scorching hot shooting trend towards the end of the season, to why the Knicks became that A seed and then would go on that magical run. And he was also working with Chris Dudley too as a center to help break the the free throw his free throw like shooting slump. What Art does is that he not only helps like your mechanics, but he's like a mental linguistics. Like he'll help like bridge the gaps, like where you are mentally, like what's the mental block, why you can't like break that hurdle, and he gets you to go through that, gets you back into rhythm. And so from there, like he was like, oh yeah, I lived in Harrison, did all that stuff. Like I'm from Westchester, the 914 represent. And like from there, we had a good conversation about the Knicks, and I was like, yeah, I've always been interested about getting into sports. And he's like, oh, you could totally do it. Just go out, start writing and stuff like that. And so started my own blog. Terrible writing, but went over to Fanside. Had some really great editors over there who really helped me like fine tune. And shout out to my wife as well. She was also like one of my editors as well, just helping me like get back onto that creative writing track. And then from there, just like yourself, I tuned into KFTV. I found the YouTube channel. I started following all these Nick outlets and like Nick's Film School, Posting and Toasting before those guys became the Strickland, KOT, the Nick of Time Show, KFTV, and like from there, just you know, followed everybody, start interacting, and then CP. I forget the name of the brand, but it was like this beard oil that he had going. And I was growing out my beard for a little bit. I was like, "What is it?" And then that's the way we started talking and a little bit here and there. And then always supported the show, always like retweeting, talking out to him, asking about the Knicks. And the next thing I know, he reached out to me to do my first narration on Frank Ntilikina for the YouTube channel. So you can go look on the season report that I did. That was my first ever thing to contributing to the KFTV channel. And from there, just grew, became a senior editor, writer, now co-host, and just a lot of other things behind the scenes that people don't necessarily get to see. But there's a lot that goes into KFTV, man. It's truly it's becoming an entity at this point, and it's fun and it's quite the journey.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. I mean, all of that is, and when you talk about the things that go on behind the scenes, man, we know about that, and especially can only imagine the extra things when you have actually a large product or a product that is, somewhat, I guess, developed to a point a lot further than some of the smaller outlets. So, man, props to you, and what a great just a great story of how you got there. It wasn't, I guess, a traditional route. And just sort of, especially with that beard oil thing, how you and CP have managed to, I guess, connect over that is interesting, man. It's funny how you can connect with people and find other common interests through something else, and then before you know it, a relationship is formed and working together. So that's awesome, man. And just the last thing at this point, how long have you been on KFTV exactly for now? What has it been? You said 2019, so about 4 years or thereabouts, 3-4 years.
I think I officially joined in 2020. I officially joined in 2020.
Okay, there you go.
So I was contributing there, and then things really started taking off after that. Once they got the website going, then I started to be part of the crew and started to help manage the website, and then just help grow the website, man. Just we got what 7 or 8 writers right now, so editing all those pieces, making sure that we get all the articles out there, the fine tuning, recruiting, all of that nature. Yeah, all the stuff for part of the behind the scenes work for KFTV.
Dope, man. That's awesome, man. Great to hear.
That's amazing, man.
Great to hear.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Swing it over to you.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, it's a pleasure having you on. I've been trying to set this up for you for a while, and like I said, I've been following KFTV from the beginning, to where it's at now, and seeing you guys I didn't get to meet you obviously because it was just too much going on at once. But
it's a lot, man.
Yeah, I saw CP real quick. He walked by me, but he was trying to. I didn't realize I was right in front of your cameraman the whole time. I'm on the 40/40 club and all that, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. But you guys put together a wonderful event. I just want to say that. You gave it. I mean, I came to that. I couldn't afford to go to a game this playoff series, so I felt like if I come to the KFTV thing, at least it gave me that Garden vibe. And I actually started the ball on live chant. Your cameraman got it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so I started that when they made that foul, that horrible foul call. But my question to you is, obviously we pivoted. We split the series in Cleveland, and as far as like X's and O's, what do you think the adjustments the Knicks should make in Game 3 in order for them to be successful in this in his home side. Obviously, the home advantage swinging our way.
I'm going to start defensively because that's who our head coach is, Tom Thibodeau. You got to get back. You got to get the ball back in Donovan Mitchell's hand and make him the playmaker. Because as we saw, once you allow Darius Garland to be comfortable on ball, get downhill, get to the spots, it just opens it up for everything else. And that way, Donovan Mitchell can just be a second option. And then I know he didn't do much in the second game scoring wise. He still got 13 assists, but you still have to honor him, right? So if you have to honor two of those dynamic guards, it just makes everything that much more difficult. And it's not like you have to guard Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley because they're great shot creators, but if you have to guard those two guys and the rotations that then follow afterwards, when you're trying to either double, when you're in drop coverage, and then you have someone cutting, and you're just trying to keep everything in front of you, it just makes it that much harder, especially in drop, because Darius is going to be able to knock down a mid range. Donovan Mitchell is going to be able to knock down a mid range. So what Tibbs needs to do is figure out, how do you make Darius Garland uncomfortable and then have to go back to Donovan Mitchell to be that initiator, because that worked for us. You want Donovan to have the ball in his hands because Garland to me, is not the best working off ball. Like, he can in some instances, but that's not fully his game because he is the point guard. So that's the big thing for Tom Thibodeau to figure out, because as we saw, that worked. And then if you have to force Donovan Mitchell to take 30 shots again, I'd rather have him take 30 shots and then force his other teammates to get out of rhythm. So that defensively, that's what I want to see. Offensively, we got to stop. I know we're a successful team in isolation. We live off of second chance opportunities, especially when we miss shots, but we got to get other guys involved, man. And if that's putting RJ down, like how, and putting him like on the bench, I mean, like if that's putting RJ on the bench to allow guys like Grimes and Quickly to thrive, because this is not a good matchup for RJ. Like, we just see that 2 games, like first game, he was solid. I thought the defense was awesome. His playmaking was there. But second game, like, if they're going to just drop on you and allow you to take mid-range jumpers, which is not his game, to try to shoot threes, which is also not his game as of this season, then you got to figure out how to get shooters out there, because we're shooting under 30% on offense from 3. And in order for Julius and Brunson to really get into some sort of groove, you're going to need 3-point shooting, especially if you want Mitch to get involved too in the dunker spot. And with that, that's where you're like, okay, let's put RJ down for a little bit. Like, you just saw like what they did for Okoro, right? Like, Okoro didn't do anything for the Cavs. That's supposed to be the guy that they wanted to have on Jalen Brunson. They're like, yo, 3 minutes, we're not getting anything. Let's go to Karis LeVert, because we need his offense. His offense is going to weigh much more in this series than what Okoro can give us defensively, because Brunson's still going to be able to get his. But then you saw what they did defensively, right? And just throw him off the game. And because you don't have anyone else making shots outside of Brunson and Randall, it's easy just to double, to blitz Brunson and then get him off his game and then force everybody else to make a decision to be a playmaker. So the Knicks really have to figure out how to get their shooters going, which is Quickly, Grimes. If RJ can get going, that would be great. But figure out how to get everyone else involved first, because Brunson can go get his whenever, right? We know Randall's a first quarter scorer. Go get him going too, because he hasn't really had to do that these first 2 games. Granted, he's coming back from injury. So figure out how to get Randall going, your shooters going, then Brunson can fill in afterwards, because if everyone else is there, then you're going to be like, oh, now we got to double Brunson. It's like, okay, go pass it to Grimes, because he's been knocking down shots now. So that's what I want to see offensively from this team too. Those are the adjustments I'd like to see.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Another thing I wanted to add on to that, because that was wonderful what you said, well, especially about offensive and defensively making adjustments. But the one thing I wanted to, like, that a lot of people are really not talking about. I think we got to win that offensive rebound and defensive rebounding thing, because that's what actually set the tone in the first game, is that we didn't really rebound the ball well the second game. And that's another factor why things went the way that they did, because they killed us on the glass. And I also think we have to match them physically. I think like the first quarter, I think we got to come out with that with energy from the Garden, and I think we got to come out with intensity, moving the ball, getting guys in the off and I think we need better off-ball movement. I didn't feel like we got too much good off-ball movement last night, and that was a key factor in us actually losing this game. And I don't see too many people talking about it, but I think everything you said was right. The adjustments we need to make, and that was well said by you.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I feel like it's tough, because the way that this team has played throughout most of the season, it's been so ISO heavy. I mean, Brunson and Randall they've been excellent. Like, you can't take that away from them. Like, this on the entire season, they've been awesome when it comes to isolation scoring. But when you are that effective in isolation scoring, then if you can't get yours, then you got to defer to everybody else who's just waiting. Like I've been like, just even as a guy who's played basketball, I pick up basketball, right? All of us, I'm sure, have played pickup basketball. How many times have you been on a team with somebody who can get downhill, get to the rack, takes like 80% of the shots, and then when they pass it out to you, they're expecting you to make that, to drain that jumper. And you're like, bro, I have not gotten any shots yet. What are you expecting from me to just be cold and then to finally do something? Like, you have to get everybody else involved in the beginning. So it's tough. It's a balance. And that's where it's like, I know these guys can do it. It's just, they got to figure out, man, how to get these guys in early. Like this team is last in assists for a few reasons. One of it is because isolation scoring. Two, the ball movement is like very sporadic. Like we'll see it in the first quarter, a little bit in the second quarter, comes a little back to life in the third quarter, and then it just dies in the fourth quarter. And I'm fine within the fourth quarter because you want your best players to have the ball, especially in the playoffs. But you need to tick it up. That's why, like on KFTV, I'm always saying like, "Yo, we need to get these assists up. We need to get these assists up," because I know that means there's more passing going around, getting other guys involved.
Yeah, well said, man.
Definitely. See now? I'm hearing everything y'all saying, right? And I kind of, I'm just like, I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, Jalen Brunson. I don't know if this is a Brunson move or a Tom move, but if we all know we need to move this ball, we all know that the whole Brunson and Spider battle, it's gonna happen within the game. But the fact that it's happening where you have Brunson immediately out the gate, taking up the first 4 to 5 shots out the game, that's not a good look for us at all. At all. I've been
I
saying this for a while, but it's like for maybe Smitty could break this down. Why, for I guess a casual fan that probably is not tuning in, they just want to see highlights. Why is that a problem for us? Like just Jalen Brunson taking the first 4 or 5 shots versus us moving the ball around and then him getting off.
Well, my best way to put it, and this is sort of comes back to something like what Alex had mentioned, is getting guys involved early. It's important. They stress that enough. You hear that often through coaches, getting players or teammates involved early, and also it makes you kind of predictable, right? So if you become predictable, you become ultimately easy to scheme for. The minute you become easy to scheme for, that you sort of shoot yourself in the foot. And I mean, I know basketball is a game of runs, and in the modern game, you really, you can almost drag back most leads, right? Even 20-point leads and such. But especially in the playoffs, you really do want to get off to a good start. Now, that's not to say that how you start is how you'll finish, right? That's never the case. It rarely is the case, sorry. But you want to set a tone. It's as simple as that. You want to set a tone. And ultimately, if you get the ball moving, you don't allow their defense to see what's coming next. Because if you become like if we run 4 or 5 shots for Jalen Brunson, then ultimately they can continue to just see what's happening next. Read the offense and plan ahead. And then immediately if those, say, out of those 4 shots you make 1, you're already on the back foot because now you're 1 of 4. Now players, you don't know whether Jalen Brunson gets in his own head because of that. You don't know whether other players automatically are out of touch after warming up beforehand. You just don't know. It can cause so many variables that you either don't think about, or that if you're a casual fan, you wouldn't it wouldn't even cross your mind. And ultimately you're getting off on the wrong foot. Ball movement, as I always say, the ball moves faster than the players, and that's something that you need to utilize constantly throughout the game, in any game, especially a game like basketball where you're in such a small air playing field.
I mean, you said it best right there. That's well said, well spoken to the T. So, Alex, right? Why hasn't Tom inserted douche yet? Like, I feel like he could have been somewhat of something of a stopper on somebody at some point. The way he gets into the passing lane, the way he picks up 94 feet. Why hasn't Tom inserted Deuce into the game at all?
That's a good question. I think we'll see in game 3, right? This is kind of the feeling out process still. I feel like the first 2 games is really that feeling out process, seeing what everyone wants to do, gaining a read for your players, what are they capable of doing in high pressure moments. For Deuce, like we already knew that once Josh Hart came here, he was already out of the rotation. He wanted to keep it to 9, keep guys fresh, get them into a rhythm. Totally understand that. For for Deuce to get back in, I think what we're going to see him probably in this next game, because the way Garland was able to get downhill and just to attack, you're going to want someone like Deuce who can get skinny around screens, can cause a little bit more pressure on Garland and make him work a little bit more. And even for that split second that we saw in yesterday's game, right? We just saw as soon as he got in there, it was like, oh, wow, this is the best defense on Garland tonight. So hopefully we get to see him more. He may have to go in that direction. You know, this goes back down to sitting RJ for a little bit more of extended stretches, because if RJ's not going to give you any shooting, and he's the one who's guarding Garland to begin with, then maybe you go with Deuce at some stretches. But Deuce also has to provide offense too. Like it can't just be like 5-7 minutes, like, and then be like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like you have to have that confidence that Deuce is going to be out there. You're trying to think of size as well, like height advantage. It's a tough situation. Thankfully, we're not Tom Thibodeau, because your job relies on it every single. All right, man, we got to make this right decision. Is it time for Deuce? Do we put the Deuce out there?
Now, we all know Tom. You know Tom ain't making no decisions. He's just on the court yelling, screaming, I thought I told you to hair, scream. They looking at him like, bro, that means what? Draw the play. Like, where's the play?
I also think people forget too, it's a chess match, man, and like, yeah, you know, playoffs are a game of adjustments. So I expect Thibodeau to run different sets. Obviously, I don't think he's going to run the same sets he ran in game 1 and 2, because I see like a lot of microcosm of like game 2, a little bit of what he did in game 1, and it didn't work. And then, you know, Bickerstaff was able to make those adjustments. And I didn't think that, you know, in the game 3, obviously, we're going to have to make different adjustments to come out successful, because what happened in the first game is not going to happen.
Yeah, and look, I think the one thing is when you go back to that game, right? Game 2, there's 2 things that stand out to me. One, we were talking about Brunson getting guys involved more, right? It would be a different story if you drained a couple of those threes, right? We're just like, oh wow, he's on a heater right now. We're not having this conversation. But it's like it's a balance, right? Because you have to know when to take a shot, when to call your number. Felt like he did it way too early in the game, personally. But also after your second in and out, I'm like, all right, let's just figure something else out. Like the third time is usually the charm. I get it, but in a game where it's already neck and neck, each possession counts so much. And there were moments where he was just going in transition and trying a little bit too much. So that's one thing right there. To get to the defensive standpoint, right, with what Tom should do next, like going back to like, I look at Josh Hart, like, did he pop off the screen yesterday to me? Like maybe you give him a day of rest, maybe you insert Deuce in there and get Deuce a little bit more run and just say, all right, Hart. Because like when you watch him yesterday, like he did his thing, but we know Hart can give a lot more energy. He just didn't pop off the screen yesterday that like he normally does. So maybe it was a day where like, all right, let's get Deuce out there. We know we want Josh Hart out there. He said he's good. Let's see for a few stints, and you can manage that too, right? You can be like, all right, Hart for a little bit, see how he's feeling. You know, he had a good transition way up earlier in the game, playing decent defense. But as the game wore on and like it started to get like away, like you're down 20 points in the third, you're like, all right, let's try something different. Let's see something different. You know, we didn't even really see quickly in the third quarter, and you need shooters out there. RJ wasn't doing it. Like, where's that? So hopefully he's seeing all this, going through the film, and that's the good thing about Tibbs, right? Is he can go through the film and be prepared for the next game. The end game adjustment is what is always my concern, but the next game I know he's going to come back and be like, oh, okay, this is what we got figured out. Let's try this.
Yeah. And look, there was the issue with Brunson, I think, yesterday, right? And like you mentioned, probably forcing it a bit too much. Some of those pull up threes in transition where he sort of rushes it, and we either have a an even number going to the basket or even an out number, and he chooses to pull up, and it's an awkward shot because his momentum's got him going forward. Now there was something that Josh Hart said. I saw in the media, Josh Hart had said about, I can score and this, that, and the third. But something that stood out to me, and this is, I've heard this from other players before. It's not a new statement, but I think this rings true, and this is something that gets you to the next round, at least in the playoffs, right? Or is a winning formula. And that's the case of the old saying, I'm gonna pass up a good shot for a great shot every time. Right. And I think that's something that we need to see from Jalen Brunson, passing up a good shot for a great shot, because sometimes you have to just take that shot that you've got and trust that it's great. But ultimately, like we saw yesterday, there was probably better shots. And when you realize and recognize that hey, this is a good shot, but maybe over there is a great shot, or just having that awareness and putting your head on a swivel that little bit more and making the extra pass, I think that's going to be the difference that carries us through, man.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you this. Smitty. Who are you looking to get the great shot from? Are you saying like find Grimes like wide open for a three? Like, I think I agree with that standpoint, but it's also like who's out there on the court. Like if you have, let's say you have the rotation of Brunson, Barrett, Hart, Randall, Mitch, and you're Brunson, you're driving, and you're collapsing. Who's the better shot?
Well, okay,
you got RJ and Hart wide open.
The perfect example I'll use is the one. Do you remember the one yesterday? We were coming back down in transition, like I mentioned. He pulls up for a three, just short of the line, and he was sort of falling forward, and you could tell the shot lost its arc. Right, it was quite a flat shot. It hit the back of the rim and bounced off. Now I believe in that instance, if I'm not mistaken, it was an even number getting back down the court. They'd gotten back with enough. We'd gotten back with enough, but they collapsed because they thought that because he still had that gap. Now I can't remember who it was in the corner. There was someone in the corner or up on the sort of top corner where the wing on a high left, right? Sort of the 3-point elbow. Now, for me, and I'm not a big advocate of the 3-point shot, but for me, in that instance, taking that split moment to look, because he never had his head on a swivel once in that possession. It felt like he was beelined. Now those are the possessions where I'm talking about, where he needs to just look as he comes up the floor, have that awareness, and even that second look, because I could be wrong, but from my memory, someone collapsed and sort of started to come towards him. It's just that extra kick out pass, man. I don't know who it was, but ultimately it doesn't matter realistically if it's RJ or if it's Grimes, right? Someone that's set in their place is better than someone who's, realistically, he was out of control on that shot. He was never set. He was falling forward. Instances like that would be an example I would use. I think someone out open in the corner, you have to trust that. That's that by rights and by definition, that's a better shot.
I mean, I get where you're going with it. I do get where you're going with it, bro. But it's in the same sense of it's a tight game. Nobody is hitting on your team. I'm talking about this the first quarter.
And I get he has to be the man too. And conversely, another better shot is it's not always passing it up. It's making a better shot for yourself. So maybe for Brunson in that instance, it was drive the lane, right? It was drive and attack, because now you've got a defender that's going to close out on you. You're either going to get the foul, or it's most likely going to work out in your favor, because they're going to have to come across. So naturally, their trajectory is, if they jump, they're going to be coming into your body. You're going to get the foul, or they contest it. Well, he's tough at the rim. So it doesn't always necessarily mean, when you say pass up a good shot for a great shot, it doesn't necessarily mean you're actually making a pass. It's just, I guess, a saying, meaning you're opting for a better shot. So in that instance, I feel like Jalen Brunson, if he had to continue even downhill because of the space that he had, it's probably a better shot to keep going downhill, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think for me, it's always like, I totally hear you on that saying, and like, it always depends like who's on the court with you, right? Like if it's like, I'd probably trust Josh Hart more to take a three than RJ at this point.
Of course.
But if you're telling me, if you're telling me that you got a wide open RJ, it's Jalen Brunson, Hart's got somebody on him, Randall's got somebody on him, like, at this point, if you're the point guard and you've already been through this point throughout the entire stretch of the season, you know that it's been kind of iffy with what RJ's doing, right? and you're supposed to be the guy, are you going to like risk that opportunity to then lose a possession because everyone else is guarded? You may not get the rebound. Like, it's tough for Jalen right now too, because whoever's out on that court with him, you have to trust. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, you have to, like, you keep feeding RJ. Like, look, he got 3 shots, I think, yesterday from 3-point range, and he didn't hit any. But you try to keep going back to him because you got to trust your teammate. But at the same time, you got to be realistic. Be like, is he going to knock down this shot? Because this is going to be a tough game, man. If he's not knocking down his shots, then you know what's going to happen. If he doesn't make that shot, that defense is then going to sag. Be like, all right, bet.
Yeah, take it.
We're going to leave him wide open, and we're just going to keep clogging the paint.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. No, but like I said as well, I feel like even in that instance for Jalen Brunson, it's not always, like I said, passing up. So you can recognize who's on the court and who doesn't have it. Sometimes it's about making a better shot for yourself. And I think that that pull up in transition, you know, when you're off balance, I think that's a poor shot personally.
All right, I like that. So I got a question for the panel. All y'all, whatever order y'all want to go in, just to, like, I guess we could say wrap this up, because we can't highlight no more of that whooping we got. We got whooped. We got whooped game 2. I'm gonna admit it. We got whooped. We didn't want to sit there and be physical. They blatantly said out loud to the media, to the world, we're gonna punch y'all in the mouth and see how far the refs let us go with this. And they literally punched Quentin Grimes in the mouth. And they literally just did it. Like, they did what they said they was gonna do. So we got to come back with that.
Jared Allen, you know, undercutting him and not letting giving Julius any landing space when y'all by plus 20. That was nasty,
point, it was nasty. But at that point, Tom Thibodeau, why are starters in the game? So it's you got to look at it.
Both points are true, bro. Both points are true. He should not have been in there. I did not like what Jared Allen did whatsoever, man. Yeah, I did not like what Jared Allen did whatsoever, man. Like,
that was a poor choice.
I get making a play on the ball. Like, you play until the whistle's blown, but like, when your team is already up by 20 with 2 minutes left in the game, you're telling me Julius, who has a wide open lane, that you're going to come from behind and now try to contest that? Come on, bro. Like, if it was the other way around, if it would have been hell or high water, Cavs fans would be like, oh, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? How are you going to hurt our guy? We don't have it gone the same way, man. It goes the same way. Like, I agree that Tibbs should not have had them in there, but I hate that play. CP didn't like when I brought that up yesterday. I was like, look, man, I did not like that play whatsoever.
No, I don't think it's a dirty play. I think it's a careless.
It's not a dirty play.
It's careless.
It's not it was like, why did you do that? Like, why did you go to that extent to even do that at that time?
Yeah, it's just careless is the word I would use, because he didn't, like you said, he didn't think of the context of what was going on. What does that dunk really mean? Like, I understand, like you said, playing to, you know, the whole 48 minutes or until the whistle's blown, until the buzzer goes. But like you said, Alex, man, I think it was just, I think on Jared Allen's behalf, it's know the situation and, play to the situation. There was no need for it. It was careless.
My other thing too is that we already saw that in game 1 where it got a little chippy between those two guys. All right, they met at the apex when Randall tried to do a dunk or finish a layup. Can't remember the play right now, but there was a little chatter. There was a little chatter, especially when Donovan Mitchell got in there. That's in Jared Allen's head, man. That is in Jared Allen's head. Like, oh, this is an opportunity right now. This is an opportunity to send a message. Look, man, I played sports long enough to know. Yeah, he could be like the nice guy and do whatever, be soft-spoken who he is. Can't fool me, man. Can't fool me. That's my tinfoil hat theory right there.
Nah, I believe you can play the nice guy role all day, but those are the guys you end up being like, don't get him mad.
Hey, but even the nice guys can have evil moments, I guess, right?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Look at this, y'all. How do y'all feel about this? Let's put our coach hats on real quick. You're Tom Thibodeau. You got to win 3 games, close out this series. Give me the 3 key things we got to do in order to get these dubs. Whoever wants to go first, you can start it off.
Go ahead, Ariel.
The 3 things to win, the 3 things for me is obviously the rebounding edge. We got to win that battle. And the battle of the benches, man. Like I said, Cleveland's been major weakness is their bench. And That's the reason why, a big reason why we won the first game is because, our bench scoring outscored theirs. And that was a key factor into that. And then we have to have, I think the X factor in the series that we got to get Emmanuel quickly back in rhythm. I mean, I understand like essentially like maybe it was some nerves in him playing on the road. It's not easy. We're the underdogs, and he's got a bigger role this year. But I think Emmanuel quickly has to step up. RJ has to hit shots for us, and ultimately, I think Quinn Grimes too. We got to get Quinn in rhythm. I think him putting up a few shots is just not going to cut it. I mean, we got to get that guy in rhythm some way, somehow. We got to get more off-ball movement.
No doubt.
I like that. Okay. I see you out here. You've been thinking, bro. You've been thinking.
I've been thinking all night. I was thinking last night about how we could win this game on Friday.
Definitely. All right.
Ariel was like that meme. Ariel was like that meme. He was with the missus laying in bed, and she's like, "Is he thinking about another way?" And Ariel was just thinking like, he's like, "Damn, how are we gonna win this game, man? How are we gonna win? How are the Knicks gonna bounce back in Game 3?"
You know what's crazy? Alex, like everybody, we did the watch party yesterday, and everybody was just like in shambles, ready to jump off the GWB. And I'm sitting there like, you know what?
Man.
We're gonna be all right, man. I think we're gonna be okay. I'm not worried for some reason. I just think that they're gonna get it together. I'm not worried.
He was like that. I had the hoodie on like Julius, looking like So I was like, they're just gonna foul Julius like that? Oh, he gonna fall on the floor? Oh, all right. So now security want to get up now. Now they want to get up. They ain't get up when we got punched in the mouth though. Like I was just over it. I was over it. But Smitty, it's on you. What's your 3 keys? What you got?
All right. So ball movement and player teammate involvement for sure, as we sort of spoke about. I think that's going to be key. Getting players to touch the ball, man. Simplest thing is getting a touch, even if it's just a touch to pass to continue it on, man. It's important. If you've ever played it at any level, you understand that touching the ball and getting a feel for the ball and continuing to get that feel is important. So I think that has to come from everyone. I think everyone was a bit stagnant. My second one is going to be movement off the ball. Because I think we got really, really stagnant at times, and it happened a lot throughout the season. And any time that it happened, we seemed to flounder and get our asses handed to us, or even if it was just for a stretch, we might have won the game. But anytime we stood around and guys came up, and it just become because while you're in isolation, I understand you're clearing out, right? You don't have to just stand there. You can do baseline cuts. You can have guys moving around. You can even drag your guys over to the other side of the court and really free up a side. I mean, that's as important as ever, because now you free up a side of the court and you create all this space for your guy. I mean, either that or they're going to shift into a zone and now you're open, right? Because they're going to stay off you. So that's my other one. And then my third one, and this is a bit of a deep thought, critical thinking. I need these guys to be critically thinking while they're on the court about what's happening next. And I know you can't ask that of everyone because, ultimately what I'm saying is basketball IQ. I know you can't ask that of everyone, but critical thinking, man. And you know what? I actually saw it from Julius Randle yesterday, and it was in that moment when he got hurt. He didn't get up. He didn't cause a scene. That's critical thinking, right? He understood the moment. Now, it can come in many forms. It can be a fact of understanding your assignment, reading the defense, reading the offense. But I need these guys to be dialed in. I need to see guys dialed in and reading what's going on rather than reacting all the time. It's got to be read and react, not just react. Because if you just react, that's when you get chippy fouls. That's when you end up getting in your own head. And then, guys end up putting themselves in a tither because all of a sudden, now I'm getting called for all this. You got to look at it yourself. You always got to continue to look at yourself. So those are my 3 keys.
I like that critical thinking. Look at you, Smitty. See, that's that Back to the Future talk over there. I watch you. All right, bro. So, all right. You know what? I'll go before you. I'll let you close out because I feel like he's about to say something and everybody's going to ping in on it because he's going to hit us with one detail that we're probably not thinking of. So, Alex, I'm going to let you close us out.
Putting a lot of pressure on me, man. I don't know if I like that. I don't like that. I don't like that.
All right, so I'll go last.
No, go for it. No, go for it. No, go for it. I don't mind going last.
And Trippy's jammed you in the corner, down 2, need a 3, 0.7 on the clock.
What you going to do here now? Let me stop. You got to be like that. But
you're acting like I'm Jalen Brunson out here, man. I'm not Jalen.
So, all right, my 3 key things is first is better one-on-one matchups. Like you have to, and when I say this, I mean offensively and defensively. On the offensive, if you know that you have the mismatch, you have to play on that mismatch. I don't care if it's in a case of you got to break him down to get the cut, to then get the pass off, or maybe you're going to draw him back in a back down to get a pass off, maybe help a guy get a screen, anything in that version of offense wise. Defensive wise, I need you guys to stay on whoever your assignment is, stay on their hip. Act like they your girlfriend. Act like they cheated on you. I need you to be right there. When they move, you move. They jump, you jump. They skip, you skip. I need you on them. There was too many lapses. Way too many lapses. Way too many people looking at each other like, yo, I thought that was your guy. It don't matter. Get the guy. All right. So we got that. Number two, it's like a mixture. I would say better pick and roll adjustments and also better switches. Like I said, they got to do better with switching. Literally, if you see that somebody gets beat on a pick and roll, you know that the guy that is about to pick up this guy driving or attacking this or about to hit this shot is not good enough. You got to be able to know enough to be like, all right, boom, you got caught. Basketball one-on-one. I used to do this all the time. I get caught on a screen, and in practice, I would tell my big guys, if I get caught, shift me back over. So I'll get caught. I have my big guy throw me back in the direction I need to go and get back on defense. It's little adjustments like that that we have to worry about when it comes to that. And on top of that, just pick and rolls. They're literally catching us where we're so used to doing so many picks, we're going right into the double team. Like, bro, they're watching us do this. We have to come up with another scheme. Pick and rolls is not working for us no more. We have to fix that. And then my last key thing would be ball movement to get the kids involved first before we initiate Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. I feel like that's the problem with this playoff series. The kids are too timid. They're hesitating. They don't know whether I should go. So then the way you break all that down, we got so much trust in you, y'all start us off. Y'all get us going. You get what I'm saying? So in the case of the starting unit, boom, RJ, Mitch, y'all get it going. Let RJ be the focal point. He can even bring up the ball. He can set up screens, come off the pick, boom, alley-oop to Mitch. Get him going real quick because that's like one of RJ's key things. You ever notice that with RJ? He misses a layup. The next thing he's doing, he's throwing the alley to Mitch. That's the next go-to play automatically. He does it time and time again. Then you got the bench come in. You get Grimes going. You get IQ going. Get them shooting. Set up plays for them. Pick rolls. You know IQ got the floater. You seen what Grimes can do. He can attack. He can do this. Start getting these young kids freed up and making them feel like they're more than just being a kid at this point. It's playoff basketball. I don't care how good the defense was in the first game. The kids are not playing up to par. And this is ridiculous now because we have a team full of kids. This is the one advantage that Cavs have over us. They have vets versus our kids. They have some kids, but they still got vets over there. You understand that? It's a big difference. And that's just me. That's just my three keys.
Yeah.
All right. True. I like all you said because it's definitely all that can be implemented to the next game. Stuff that Tibbs, every single player can do and that we definitely need to see. First thing I'm going to start off with is just simple three-point shooting, man. We got to start knocking down threes because it'll open up everything else, especially for Brunson and Randle. Once you can get your threes going, you're going to have to keep the Cavs are going to keep their defense honest. Not going to be able to double team as much. It gets everyone back into rhythm. Second thing for me, turnovers. The turnovers have been the worst I've ever seen this Knicks basketball team play. You had 16 turnovers in the first game. You had 18 in the second game. Horrendous. We can't be on an uptick like that, considering that this team has averaged about 13.1 turnovers on the season, and they're very good at protecting the ball. They're like one of the top 5 teams when it comes to protecting the rock. So we got to get back to seeing some of that because, especially in yesterday's game, it felt like while the Knicks couldn't score at any moment in the second quarter, it felt like forever, man. It felt like decades passed. It felt like I went from being 33 to freaking 75 towards the end. That's how long it felt that the Knicks couldn't score. So they have to, and it was mostly due to turnovers. So they have to get that corrected. The thing I really want to see the most, man, I want to see Randle bully Evan Mobley. That is what I want to see happen because I get that I get that Mobley, look, he got third in all defensive consideration and very worthy of it. He's been a really good sophomore this season. Can't take that away from him. But a 20-year-old going against a 28, 29-year-old, just physically, it's just very different. And for Randall, for a guy who's good in isolation scoring, if you get the 3-point shots going, there's going to open up for Randall to go one-on-one with Mobley. If Randall's able to attack and go downhill against Evan Mobley, and yeah, Evan Mobley's probably like the second best defender on that team just because of his versatility, his ability to guard the perimeter, the paint. But physically, if he has to guard Julius coming downhill on the post anywhere throughout the game, it's going to open it up for everybody else. Okay, because if he can drive, Mobley's not going to be able to stop him one-on-one. The defense got to shift to then see Randall's coming. Once that can happen, we can start seeing Randall's passing to everybody else to get everyone else involved. But Randall has to be able to take advantage of Evan Mobley and make him like a chair, like a folding chair, like he did in game one. Like I know that highlight of him moving Mobley underneath the hoop for the free throw shot was circulating. He's got to do that again. And I get that the Cavs were able to be physical in game two. After they did all their whining and pleading to the refs to get it going. And we saw like, I don't blame the refs, but you just saw the game was called differently in the first half than it was in the second half, even though the Knicks came out with more free throw shots. It was kind of like a makeup to make it seem like, oh, like if you're just looking at the stat sheet, like, oh, well, it seems like it was a fairly called game. Watch the first half. It was very different. And I'm not, like I said, it's not to blame the refs, but at the end of the day, the players have to show up and beat that, like, to beat the calls. But for getting back to like Randall, he has to go play physical. And I'll give you a bonus. Play physical. They punch you, punch twice as hard back. These guys ain't gonna like it. They're not gonna like it.
The way I
They're
see
soft,
it,
man. Call it how I see it. They're soft.
it's just jail, man. They want to sit there and punch us in the mouth. They trying to kill us by being up by 20. Okay, just like Julius Randle said, you got to come back to the Garden, right? I see you when you get here.
I like his press game conference because that press game conference to me, Randall was like basically being like a silent assassin. He's like, like he didn't say it outright, but his body language and the way he was talking was like basically like he's gonna let the game do the talking. And I think I'm gonna see way more physical because this Cavs team literally cried about fouls all weekend after they lost the first game. And then you see what happened last night, where you could see the officiating. While it wasn't the main reason we lost, but it set the tone from the beginning to the end, essentially. So I think the Knicks got to come back way more physical. And like you said, man, we got to punch them in the mouth. We got to get physical, man, right back. They're not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, we need that.
On the road. They're a bad road team.
We need that Kobe on power, man. Just run straight through the chest, like in the Olympics, just straight through his chest and the tone.
Well, I'm glad that someone watched the Redeem team.
Hey, man, I remember watching that live.
Great.
Yeah, I remember watching those Olympics.
Yeah, live. I mean, watching it live was great, but oh man, I remember watching that team. I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna go play some basketball right now." Every single day, I was like, "Yo, they're playing. I'm playing right after this game because that's how good that team was." But
no, man, we need that energy. We need that. I'm gonna run straight to his chest, first play of the game, and set the tone. So that's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys could see how different this team is than the Cavs and just like their whole demeanor. Like you don't hear anyone complaining about what happened. It's very professional. It's truly very professional.
Like,
it's night and day from what the Knicks used to be. It's night and day. The fact that it's like it's business. It's like, look, we got to be better. We got to do this. They're not blaming anybody. They're keeping the cards to their chest. I like it, man. It's a very serious team. It's
different,
team.
Man. It's different. Different. High character guys.
No doubt.
Game 3 is Friday. We gonna get this done.
Wait.
I still got Knicks in 5. I'm not changing my prediction.
Knicks in 5. Knicks in 6.
It just threw my wrench off because the way I first said it was we was going to snatch the first 2 and they was going to take one on our house. So never mind. I guess we protecting home and we just going to clean you up at y'all crib and make up for what y'all did to us. Remember how y'all was punching us out that last game when we up 3-1 and we go back home to Cleveland? We're going to dog roll y'all. We're going to light you up. We're going to throw Jericho Sims in the game. We're going to hit you with an elbow dunk into the rim. All that. You're going to bite your ear off. No, let me stop. But we going to love it.
Is he going to pull out the 50 sign too, man? Is he going to pull out the 50 sign after that? Is he going to be half torn again?
Yeah.
Look, man, you're gonna see Trevor Keels come through with the G Unit sneakers on. Like that's how real it is. You coming
Yo,
to
he
play,
said G
okay?
with sneakers. Oh my goodness.
He's a big kid,
G-Unit.
man. He's a football player, man.
Oh. But look, y'all, this was perfect. It was a pleasure having you, Alex. Thank you again for joining us. Ariel, shout outs to you for setting this up, man. You've been on a
Yo, man.
roll, bro.
Like I said, man, I've been on a roll lately. It's an honor to have you on. I've been watching you guys work for a long time, and we're trying to build something special with VSN. I do the old school podcast, and I do KnickN30, obviously here. So, we're just trying to build something special, and having guys that are already, in that field and have elevated from what we're trying to do. It's an honor to have you on, man. Appreciate you for your time.
Appreciate you guys bringing it on, man. It's nice to
Appreciate
meet
the
you
time,
guys.
man.
Smitty, Ariel, Trippy OG, man. You're going Trippy OG, man. I want to hold before I get out of here. How'd you get that name?
Trippy OG. Oh, Trippy don't get. Oh, God, I already know.
Too many
All right, so
psychedelics. Too many psychedelics, I think.
all right, so no. Before the media and everything, I'm a dancer and I'm a music artist first. So
Oh,
I
nice.
started dancing. Yeah, I started dancing first with my whole Dope the Phenom character. That's what I first came out with. Then when I transitioned into music, I actually came out with a project called Trippy OG. So when I came out with it, the person that I used on the cover, this was back with what movie was this? I think it was Central 21. I used a little boy from that cover. So they looked at it. They thought it was me. I'm like, bro, that's not me. But they thought it was me as a little kid. So people outside started calling me like outside when I would go outside and do like different events when I had opened up for Black Ink and all that. I had did a show. They started calling me Trippy. So I was just like, you know what? I guess media, when I go to that world, we just gonna stick with Trippy because people couldn't get the Phenom part. They would say, dope the what? Dope the, you know what? Trippy OG. That's my name. We're gonna stick with that. That's how we got to Trippy.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
He's a man of many talents.
I try, man. I try. I'm trying to be like y'all, man.
Go.
I'm trying to get like y'all.
Let's go. But appreciate you guys having me on and keep grinding, man. You guys doing a great thing.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate you, Alex.
Listen, man, you're more than welcome to come on anytime, man. Just let us know.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. Really enjoyed this conversation talking Knicks. I like talking X's and O's, strategy.
Same way, man.
It's a lot of fun.
It stimulates the brain, man. You get to get more, learn more
That's
about.
one thing you can say about us. One thing you say about us. We're not all about the politics and the rumors. We just want to talk ball. Like if you can talk ball, you're more than welcome to come on this show every day because I get tired of the narratives. Like it's cool at first. It's fun. It's funny. It's okay. But then after a while, it's like, all right, you can't just keep running with this now. It's like, it's pointless. It's pointless. Like, you've been doing this for almost 275 days. You gonna keep going? Trying to get 365? It's like, just stop. Just stop.
Hey man, it's whatever keeps the headlines going, right? Whatever keeps Stephen A churning out content.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Talk to you soon.
Appreciate
Hopefully,
you guys. Let's go Knicks, baby.
Let's go Knicks,
Knicks in 5. Okay, Knicks in 5.
6.